G. What do we think is shit? Thank you.
Or the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. At the bottom of the ocean, don't know if I'll make it back home.
there, everybody. We're back with another UCL week of action. As always, I'm Nightstar. What? That's wrong. I'm on.
Are you?
This is Nightstar. Joining me here on the desk. Nightstar, I think we've been casting together a little bit too much. I'm starting to become you.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. It's also the fact that the past week we've just been playing together nonstop. Yeah. So, you know, maybe the mind blending starting to happen. I don't know.
Spending too much time with you, Nightstar. I need a vacation. I need some space. But we're still on for that Apex match tonight. Okay. We got a match of League of Legends to go.
Fight night?
Go first. It's going to be AOE Reborn taking on Cosa Gaming here. Now, in the UCL, obviously, we're just week 2, so this is going to happen. It's a 4-way tie for first and a 4-way tie for fourth. Currently, AOE, because they won their week 1 match, is sitting at the top of the table. Now, Cosa Gaming, their week 1 was a bit more interesting. They, for some reason, I don't know the specifics behind it, had to forfeit their first game or ended up forfeiting it. And then it was a very close 1-1 series against Wichita Wolves Red. So, you know, those results skewed a little bit with the forfeit. That could have been a win for them. They did, though, play a very similar composition both games through. It pivoted around a Jarvan and a Camille. Looked like a lot of early aggression. One game, it went horribly. They lost 9,000 gold behind. The next game, they won 9,000 gold ahead. So that's going to be an interesting thing to keep in mind going into this series. They definitely have a style they want to play. How is it going to match up against AOE Reborn, who won their series last week 2-0? So feeling good, feeling nice and hot, haven't even dropped a game. This is where we really get into the meat and potatoes of the season. There's only 5 weeks of the regular season. So now teams really got to put their pedal to the metal in these kind of middle weeks.
Yeah. I mean, because it's such a short season, like every match does matter. And yes, it helps by the fact that it is best of 3, but when you do have to concede that first game, like in the case of Cosa, it does put you in a bit of a bit on the back foot. So hopefully they're able to pick it back up coming into week number 2 against AOE Reborn. It's not like they didn't have a super strong showing, because it was still, from looking at the game records, it looks like it was a relatively back and forth game. So there's definitely opportunity here for Cosa Gaming to come in and take this series.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be looking for. And we are well into picks and bans here. We had to skip over a bit of it just to say hi to you guys, do our intro. But we now get to see all of the picks before us. Cosa not going with the Jarvan this time around. Now, the one thing I didn't get to see, I don't know if we got it recorded, was the actual draft order for Cosa in that week 1 series. Now, a lot of priority, like I said, on the Jarvan and the Camille. It felt like that was the pivot. This time, though, they're going to go towards the Volibear, which is a pick that I just see continuing to rise in popularity.
Yeah, it's really risen in popularity, but when I go and watch a lot of the amateur level games, it doesn't
Jack didn't see the draft yet. I'm sorry. Shh, spoilers.
Oh, okay. Well, Volibear in general has been a pick that's just risen in priority because of the changes to the Volibear. He's gotten a lot more healthier and is clear, but when you look at a lot of these games, it feels like he hasn't had that overwhelming impact that he should have, and that is dive lane nonstop. Once you hit level 6, you just dive, and we just haven't necessarily seen that coming out from the non-pro teams. So it still looked good at the pro level, just not quite as clean at underneath it.
Yeah, that's kind of always what we're looking for at this level of play, right? Because we're not in the challengers, we're not in the beyond. These are, you know, plat to, you know, not plat. We're looking at grandmaster to master players here in the UCL. At least I know there's some master players, maybe some diamond on both teams. But these players definitely still make mistakes. They're not perfect. I mean, even LCS players and LEC
Oh,
players
yeah.
and LPL players make mistakes, but it's minimizing those mistakes. It's taking the draft that you're able to get for yourself, and knowing your win conditions, playing to them correctly while preventing the enemy win conditions. If you can execute on that, that is going to help you more than any sort of read on the meta or good matchup that you've gotten in lane, if you're able to execute on your plays correctly. But now we are into the draft that you guys can see for us. Sorry about giving you the spoilers there, but it's the first pick Volibear that we saw here for Cosa Gaming. It was not the Camille until the third grab up here. AOE Reborn, lots of prio on their bot lane, getting that Misfortune Galio early on. Pairing it with that Udyr, still a top tier jungler. We get the Jax, the Syndra, the Karma, and the Varus on the other side. Now that we see these two drafts in their entirety, Nightstar, how are you feeling about game one for these two teams?
Yeah, so for Reborn, they've got a very scrappy composition. They have MF, they have Galio, two champions that want to be up in your face nonstop. That's supplemented by an Udyr and the Syndra. So Syndra, yes, we know her as that burst mage and late game champion, but that's less so at the moment, where if you hit 6 items, yes, you will just nuke anyone in the game, but her mid game has been hit quite hard here. So looking to just kind of play around pretty much anyone else besides the Syndra here. The Jax also wants to go a little scrappy. So I love the identity from Reborn and the fact that they've gotten a theme and all of the champions sort of fit that theme. On the flip side, you've got the Camille Volibear, Tristana. All this top half is going to be so exciting to watch, because that is also another set of champions that just want to non-stop scrap, and especially with that Volibear hitting level 6, I would expect to see a lot more focus on that top side to try and conduct some dives. In the bottom lane, Varus Karma looking to just constantly shove in and control bot lane through wave priority, not necessarily through fighting.
Yeah, and I had to pull up the records when I saw this Camille Jax matchup, because this was actually the exact matchup that TLF took the Camille into in the game that they won last week. He took it into Jax, took Teleport and Ignite with the Grasp of the Undying, so a very, very lane-focused matchup, ensuring that you're always going to win those all-in engages, and you're going to have the TP to get back to lane in case anything goes wrong. Also in that game, Kiwi Pancake was 6, 1, and 17 on the Jarvan. Insane KP. I mean, and it was only like a 30-minute game. So I think you hit the nail right on the head. This has got to be a top die situation here for this Camille, because it feels like the cornerstone of the comp, right? If they can get this Camille ahead, that unlocks so much else for your Tristana, for your Varus, this double marksman that you want to buy time for to scale up. But you said it, you got a lot of good lanes to gank here. On the opposite side, this Udyr might not want to go to the Syndra, but go to the Jax, go to the Misfortune Galio. Those are two great lanes to attack. I'm excited for what we have here on the draft here for game number one. These are two comps that I think have different goals, but very clear goals, which is exciting because they're not trying to do the same thing. It's not going to be a blowout. We can see a little bit of push and pull. We'll have to see what actually happens. We're going to toss it to a short break before we get into game number one as these players load onto Summoner's Rift. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I have now figured out who I am. This is Audio. Joining me is Nightstar. We're not going to get that mixed up again. And we're on the rift now with AOE Reborn and Cosa Gaming. Some two great comps on either side of the rift. Nightstar, wouldn't you agree?
It should be a very fun two compositions here. I love both comps because they are clearly built to their own team's identity, and they also have cohesion as well. That's the big thing when it comes to gameplay at this level, is sometimes you get all the champs you want, but then you put them all together and they don't make sense together at all. This one seems like it does.
And already, I see QB Pancake thinking about the top lane. You know, it's these little things, but he walks into his Raptors, puts a defensive ward down, back swap over to the sweepers. He says, okay, I'm going to start on my bottom side, path towards top. That's just a ward to make sure that, you know, no funny business happens, that Buzzar doesn't try to get cute with the chickens. But he should be, at least I expect, going blue buff to red buff, then pathing top to level 3. TLF is caught out in the river with the counter strike. Takes a little bit of damage to start the lane, but I think Johnny Rockets is scared that that volley bear might be just around the corner.
I think he just didn't want to hand over a grass proc there to somewhat nullify that trade. But yeah, here in this early phase, we're going to be looking at these junglers looking to play aggressively, especially around that top side. So with both of them starting bot side, definitely could just see something very, very exciting in about a minute 30.
It is going to be the full clear from Kiwi here, so a little bit slower on the roam up. Now, Johnny Rockets has been playing very defensively, so it makes sense. Perhaps I've been playing too much Wild Rift. Full clears are much less common in that game, so accelerated. But nevertheless, I am waiting on the top lane play. Both junglers will be up here at around the same time. It's actually the volley bear who is further ahead on his clear, already starting up his red buff, has finished his Raptors. Fuzzar is just getting to his blue now. So this could mean that, you know, Kiwi could just show up sooner and will at least have priority for the top lane crab with both top and mid prio.
Yeah, and that's a little bit interesting as far as just the difference in clear speed is, because Udyr should have a vast advantage. So I am wondering if perhaps his red buff got reset.
Nightstar, you specifically telling me that the Volibear buffs did not increase his clear speed. And here we go. It's the 2v2 scuffle, but the health bars start out in favor of the Kiwi Pancake just has the damage. Johnny Rockets now gonna try to trade one back. He does get a kill onto TLF and flashes away. Kiwi Pancake closed the gap. He makes it a 2-for-1. Trade goes beautifully, but they lose the Camille. TLF has the teleport to catch that wave. Everything's gonna look great. How about the play in the bot lane? Sunbee does take that piercing arrow. Oh, flash forward to finish him off. Jake is not gonna let him go easily.
Now in the mid lane.
It's just non-stop action from these teams. Braces now. He has to flash away. Still takes the fully charged explosive charge to the face. And man, full court press, top, mid, bot. Cosa Gaming is on a roll.
They are definitely on a massive roll here. And TLF, he finds yet another nice trade here. And he could just find this kill.
Yeah, level 5 to level 4. And Johnny Rockets, he may have the corrupting potion, but it's not going to help him in the short term. He's getting beat up right now by TLF. The huge wave stacking against him.
Yeah, this is looking really, really poor for this Jax right now. Down 14 CS already. Of course, he's got minions coming towards him here, but if he gets dove at level 6 when Kiwi Pancake hits level 6, this top side probably just donezo right then and there. So Fuzar he has to be really aware of that, and he has to be able to put himself in a position where he can support this Jax when it comes to that level 6 side at that moment. Now, the side of Cosa, you're going to keep snowballing this lead here, though, because they get themselves that Inferno.
Look at this defensive vision all along the river here for TLF. This control ward, oh, this is actually a huge bait in. If the Udyr had walked up there to the top lane instead of down to mid, they definitely would have been able to kill TLF because Galio was waiting for a play. Now they're going to finally roam up, but the control ward's gone. TLF has his vision secured, and he knows better than to walk up into that brush again.
Yeah, except he still walks up into that brush.
I mean, he knew he left.
Yeah, and he also knows that he's level 6, and the other 2 players, definitely not level 6. Also, Udyr level 6 doesn't really matter a whole lot there, but Volibear making yet another visit into that mid lane. This Volibear pressure has been really, really good. I've been very impressed by the play coming in from Volibear so far. But one of the drawbacks I will have to say about this composition in the hands of Cosa, they are a full AD comp. So unless if Karma goes for something really spicy here,
yeah,
late game could be a bit rough.
And not something we're expecting out of Karma when she is going to support role. Maybe if she was mid lane, we'd see the Luden's Echo come out.
Yep.
Try to get a bit more bang for your buck. But Jake playing on welfare here in game number 1 can only afford the great value version. The great value Karma builds. Does the same thing, just doesn't quite pack the same punch.
Yeah. But okay, wait.
Johnny Rockets, he goes in for a counter.
There's a lot of
strike.
minions.
He's frustrated. He almost actually finds the kill, but in a photo finish, TLF does come out on top thanks to that ignite.
Oh, that's all.
Able to just disengage, just that easy. Walk right out of it. And now MF walking back up. The taunt lands, and that's the heal coming out. Jake still goes down. It's going to be traded support for support. And now it's ADC combat until Kiwi Pancake comes to turn it around. That's not fair.
Yeah, the Varus gets himself his first kill here. But more importantly, you know, maybe instead of great value, we're going to get some Kirkland special here on the Karma, because she does have 2 kills for herself. So she is getting some income into her hands, and more importantly in this bottom side, like, you have a 30 CS lead on your Varus, and you have probably like 12 minions crashing into that tower and just dying to that tower without that MF being able to get those minions. Like, holy moly, they just won massively in that bot side trade.
Yeah, I mean, hey, eating fancy every night is expensive, but, you know, every once in a while, you're feeling good, you're having a good week, so treat yourself. Maybe we'll see Jake go for that heavy damage build now that he's having a good day on Summoner's Rift. Johnny Rockets is not. He's getting bullied. He's 1-3, goes down for the 3rd time this match, and I mean, we knew it was going to be a top lane game. Oh, Toasty Alex flash away. Does not
beautiful
far enough. The run's done, job done. He tries to trade back the damage, but it's not enough.
And now, while we did see, for the most part, the scrapping has just been better over on the side of Cosa. That one, they just go, all right, well, we're down. How about we just throw a bunch more bodies? So they tossed 3 bodies into that mid lane, and guess what? That time it worked.
AOE really needed a win there. And their plays have just been going terribly all across the map. Top, mid, bot. It feels like Kiwi have just systematically gone to each lane twice now in the last 10 minutes. And, you know, if that play hadn't gone their way, wouldn't have been able to get this Rift Herald. They would have just kept bleeding resources out. So good job to AOE for finding a window to at least get some breathing room, because Cosa has made it very difficult here. It's going to be
now
the trade for the bot lane play, though. I don't even think they needed Kiwi. He just comes in to take the gold.
It's the alley-oop play, man. they gave him a freebie, and you know what? He slam dunked that one all the way home, and now he's 3-0-1. Like, this mid game is going to hurt a lot because of just how much power and how much dive potential that they do have. Of course, Karma with her ultimate shield, mantra shield, going to provide so much value for this composition. You've got the Tristana looking to be very far forward, the Volibear, and also the Camille. So this backline has to play almost perfectly on the side of AOE Reborn, or they'll just be really left gasping for breath.
Yeah, and let's talk about the options that the backline do have, because on paper, this is not a terrible comp. Oh, we'll have to hold it as Flash away, not going to do anything. Throws out the ult for a little bit of poke. Gets Toasty Alex down to a quarter HP, but that's another gank and another kill here for Cosa Gaming. And top lane is looking iffy, but back to my point. I mean, you've got Scatter the Weak, you've got Galio Taunt. Like, there are tools to deal with the incoming dive, but the reason that we say they still have to play so carefully, so perfectly, is because the game has been accelerated to a point that if you scatter the weak the Camille away, cool, you still have a Tristana and a Varus and a Volibear and a Karma who all have kill threat on you because you're so far behind. So composition looks good, state of the game not so much. So we're still playing on the edge of our seats here.
Yeah, we're
they spot Fuzzar.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there, but looks like he might still consider hanging around just to throw down that Rift Herald. He still has 2 minutes until plates do fall away, so that could be a possibility.
Yeah, where can he go? He can't go top lane. You don't want to go anywhere near that Camille. We've seen them make one successful play there in the mid lane, but Toasty Alex has his cleanse back up. He's a Tristana. You don't know where Kiwi Pancakes is. You're kind of just left to bot lane.
Yeah, it either comes down to this bot or mid. Yes, you don't really want to hard pound the Syndra, but the Syndra pick has kind of been the only pick that's been doing all right for the squad. So perhaps you want to try and help out that advantage. As
a little bit of aggression there from Sunbay, walking in to try to defend some vision. It's a 1v1 between the ADCs, and Indigo comes out on top. That's a head scratcher. But
head scratchers.
How much worse can it get, right? When you start to fall this far behind in gold, especially this early on, you start to be willing to take those lower and lower percentage plays, you know? Normally it's a 50-50, sure, I'll give it a shot. Now, though, you're thinking, 70-30, that might be the best I got right now.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. Unfortunately, that was nowhere close.
That was like a 95-5.
Yeah, that was like, I hope he auto cancels a couple of times. Maybe that helps me out. In this top side, there's already a 2-level lead. They do end up throwing the Rift Herald into that mid lane, which is kind of what I was expecting, especially after your AD carry just dies 1v1 as a jungler. Then you're like, yep, nope, you're not getting this.
And now where does he go?
He's gone.
Jake's going bot. Life Without Us is going back to base. The fast way, express trip.
Yeah, and the gray screen gameplay.
Top lane. Quick intermission. It's a 30 CS lead, level 11 to level 9.
Yeah.
This is just cyberbullying at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Philip doesn't care that the jungler is there. He's gonna dive anyway. He will be punished for his sins at the end.
So long.
But Fuzzar now is gonna play leapfrog with AoE. One more auto attack will do it. Has to flash to secure it. Good guy Kiwi's not gonna steal that one away.
I'm actually surprised that he goes ahead and flashes for that one. Definitely could have just let Kiwi Pancake take that one without having to invest the flash, but you know, sometimes the extra 300 gold feels nice in that regard, and he will be able to complete his Gale Force with that purchase, so it does make a difference here. And now with the Gale Force, like, everyone in this backline is just put on notice because of that. There's just so much threat now, in addition to just execution power. And this MF pick hasn't really gotten off the ground. And the other issue is also the fact that no one's really built steel cap boots, which would help them out in this mid game here with how much dive is going to come out on this next dragon.
Yeah, definitely a question mark. It's those itemization things that you can get stuck in a rut going with the same build path over and over, especially in a solo queue setting.
He's gonna hand it.
Yeah, I mean, not soul. It sucks to lose soul point, but at the end of the day, it is just a dragon. You don't have to fight until the big bad soul itself. They're gonna walk into the mid lane though, just menacingly. I mean, Keely just looks at the misfortune. She goes, "Okay, blade's yours."
Yeah,
so
I'm out.
much presence on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, and the reason why I commented about like, hey, they kind of just handed that one over in that bot or in that dragon, it is just because of the fact that this is a comp that really wants to take these dragon fights, right? And it understandably so. They don't have the items or the gold to be able to contest it, so that's why they go ahead and concede it. However, you just think about, all right, well, on that next dragon, are we going to be strong enough? And that's a big question, and maybe it gets answered if they do get their mythics online.
Yeah. As it stands, I 100% agree with the call to give up the Drake, even with, as you said, the compositional factors and what you want to do. Simply to the fact that there was 5 mythics to 3. I mean, Jake has his Moonstone, Galio and Misfortune have nothing. And at that point, mythics are so powerful that there is just such a low percentage of you winning that fight. Hopefully, they can find some more gold between now and the next dragon, which they absolutely will have to fight for. Johnny Rocket steps forward a little bit out of the safety of his tower. And that's going to mean he dies.
Yeah, you just can't fight Ignite Camille. Ever. Yeah. Especially with how far accelerated she is right now. Yes, Jax eventually does outscale that matchup, but now you're talking about something like 35 minutes when perhaps the Jax is able to do something in that lane, because soon you're looking at TLF being able to obtain that Snare's Gauge. That's going to be so much extra health for him. And now you really need level... I think level 13 is when his passive maxes out, but you might just need level 16 at this rate to be able to get that rank 3 ultimate stats.
Yeah, and he's so far away at this point. But now that the turret has fallen, we'll see what TLF decides to do. Doesn't have flash, and honestly, his team's so far ahead that I would prefer it if he just kind of went back to the side lane. Keep putting the pressure on Johnny Rockets. Don't let him get any farm back into his pockets. But he could just show up to the team fight, and he is so strong that 5v5, there's nothing that AOE can do, and they will have the run of Summoner's Rift. We'll see what the game plan here is for the next couple of minutes. As Dragon is up in 157, Baron is up a little sooner, 1 minute, 3 seconds.
Yeah, and right now, all eyes are on this soul point here. If the side of Cosa Gaming are able to obtain that, that makes their composition just so much more deadly. Of course, in that 1v1, you're going to have this Camille just non-stop looking for fights to just try and delete you. But it's also incredibly terrifying just to on pretty much any other lane, because that means Volibear, he's going to have the ability to ult you whenever he wants. Same with this Varus, and while the Varus doesn't necessarily have a ton of cooldown or ability haste, it's still going to be a very short cooldown for that ultimate. So a lot of ults that are going to be really annoying to deal with for the side of AOE Reborn.
Absolutely. Fuzzar, that's not the brush you want to walk into. May just look like a Karma, but where there's a Karma, there's a Volibear lurking somewhere behind him. And let's start talking about this game and what it means for the series as a whole, because I think if you've done your homework against Cosa Gaming, if you've looked at the match histories, you can see that this is a composition they're very practiced on. And what that says to me is going into game 2, if you get blasted like this, start looking at bans. Take away the Camille, take away the Tristana, some of these things that make the game difficult. And maybe that starts to throw them off their comfort
off kilter
zone.
Yeah.
How much of this do you feel is just we practice this comp? Oh, we'll hold that thought, as this might be
They can't lock him down.
the fight that we've been waiting for. It's fight night here on Summoner's Rift. Bullet time comes in very early.
Oh
it's
no.
canceled. Life Without Us knows that that was a bad ult. There's the Varus ult. It's gonna tag up the Galio. He looks for the taunt, but it's TLF already in the back line. 1v4, he does go down. The Misfortune falls too. It's the
Doesn't matter.
from Toasty Alex. It's the Gale Force. He's hopping left, right, and center. It's a double kill for both marksmen. And with a Rift Herald in the mid lane, Cosa Gaming are set to turn this into a massive play. They were even looking for Baron there for a second. That's a little bit too much, guys. Oh, flash forward from Johnny Rockets does not find the kill. I applaud the attempt, sir.
But now flash down onto Johnny Rockets. They secure themselves a soul regardless. And Toasty Alex doesn't have to burn any summoners to get out. He survives on the narrowest of margins, but he still survives. And now here, they're going to have soul point. And more important, or they have soul. But more importantly here is the fact that this, again, I talked about the composition from the side of AOE Reborn, but now you're forced in a position where you have to contest this next dragon because that's Elder.
I mean, you at least have to throw your body at it and try to steal it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you can do that, even at this gold deficit, I mean, we're still within the 10,000 mark, which I think is the 100%. It's like almost mathematically impossible that you come back from this. But if you can steal away
TSM begs
Elder,
to differ.
Okay, well, TSM's a special case. Okay? Love-hate relationship with the team, but yeah, we're not going to go any further than that on this broadcast. If you can steal away an Elder, you can overcome insane gold deficits. So maybe that's a small window. Kind of feels like it's the last-ditch hope here. And honestly, they might not even get to that point because Baron's on the table. Cosa can play for that right now if they want to. TLF is on the side lane, and Sunbay is hovering.
TLF
They want
actually
to try to attack the global, attack the teleport, but that just means the Baron gets started up.
Yeah.
This will be given for free.
They throw 3 people at this Camille, who's still incredibly slippery. Also is incredibly tanky because she did go for the Titanic option instead of the Ravenous. This is clearly more of a team fight centric build, which I do appreciate if you are understanding that you want to play team fights. Overall, I think the Ravenous is just a better item for Camille because she wants to play more of that 1v1 style. But if you're grouping, this is exactly the play.
This is so beautiful from TLF, by the way.
Go.
Get this kind of player in solo queue. Anytime he sees somebody trying to come and get him,
Oh,
he
he's
just walks
ulting the
away.
wave.
He knows his team has got his back. He knows his team is breaking down the base in the mid lane.
Kiwi pancake.
And all he's doing is stopping back. So he's just being a nuisance. He's never fighting, never putting himself at risk. And Cosa Gaming are getting everything right now. There's the Galio ultimate, but the target dies. Fuzzar had to run.
Get him,
all the
Kiwi.
way here. CLF is still stopping Jax's back under the tier 2 tower.
Kiwi.
Bear has gone too far and will give over a shutdown. But my God, Cosa Gaming just are leading AoE around Summoner's Rift on a leash, and a short one. A very short one at that.
Yeah, and well.
What is that damage from the Camille?
That's
There had to have been like a piercing arrow or something layered on top of that. There is no way that the Camille did that much damage.
Yeah, I think that was the Varus execute coming through as well. So a lot of damage still packed into that one punch there. and it's a rough go of it here because we've hit that 10k gold mark, and there's only 120 seconds until we do have that Elder Dragon about to spawn. So they've got to find some sort of trigger to pull. And
now, crucially,
find a pick.
AOE were able to hold on to their inhibitors. So they're not going to be dealing with the pressure of a super minion wave threatening your Nexus tower while the Elder is going down. They can at least commit to sending bodies to the Elder. And sure, TLF might threaten the split push, but you've been dealing with that threat all game. We take the small wins where we can get them. We're going to try to attack TLF one more time. They do land a CC, but it's a tanky Camille, and he's got a lot of damage going golden. Braces stays alive, and they do get the shutdown. Elder still a minute and a half away. That plays just pure profit.
That was actually still so close here, and thankfully they will be able to get that without having to trade really any summoners. Yes, you do. Well, actually, no. They had to burn Syndra Flash, or was that on the previous play? Might have been the previous play.
I think it was the previous play.
Yeah.
Because you can look at Fuzzar, who did use his Flash in that play, slightly higher cooldown.
Yep. So the important thing to keep note of for this fight is the fact that because Syndra had to burn Zhonya's, she doesn't have Zhonya's for this fight. So that will be something to really keep track of, because that is a key member of their composition. You don't have too much disengage without it.
And staring down at Tristana and a Camille that want nothing more than to get on top of you. And I mean, you can't even really like feign being the weak carry either. Like 163 Braces hasn't had a great game. Nobody on AOE has. Yeah. But at least when you're normally playing this kind of competition, you can be like, oh, I'll just stand behind like my ADC or top laner and let them take it. Here's the engage. That's a better bullet time. But it is canceled rather, as Volibear ults in. They grab the honey fruit to stay healthy. Toasty Alex jumps in. There's one kill, and he leaps back to safety. There's the second as Indigo picks it up. Johnny Rockets winning a 1v1 versus TLF.
I don't know
for that. I don't know. I'll say winning with air quotes. Okay, he got the shutdown, big shutdown. But what's it matter when the prize on the end for Cosa Gaming is the Elder Dragon?
Yeah, so Elder Dragon should be obtained unless if you get some sort of big Hail Mary play coming in from Braces, but swing and a miss there, and Elder Dragon goes into the hands of Cosa Gaming. Oh man, it is a rough go of it. And interestingly enough, so this is something that I actually really like, is the fact that Indigo, look at that build. It's actually the on-hit AP Varus here. So that means those potatoes coming out, they're going to be hitting hard. And that makes up for the fact that they're pretty much, they would have been a full 80 composition besides that.
I'm a very big fan of the AP Varus. Anytime that Varus finds his way into the meta, that AP variation is a great way to just round out your damage diversity. It really unlocks these picks like the Tristana mid. The marksman, you can also go towards like the mid lane melee assassins if you wanted to. Serves the same purpose. But champions like Varus, like Kaisa, that have those AP variant builds, it's a lot easier of a transition for an ADC player than picking up something, say, like the Swain or the Syndra there in the bot lane. Now, Swain is a champion that Cosa have pulled out before in the bot lane, so I won't take that away from them. 1v3.
They're all in on this.
Fight. Ding, ding. TLF. Sterix Gage pops. Still alive. Fight's not over. I'm not going to count him out until he dies. 100 HP will finally go down, but I mean, time and time again, what are they getting on the other side? This time it's Baron.
Yeah, they throw 5 bodies at him and the teleport invested.
That's where you got to type in all chat. Gotta send 5, huh?
This is called creating pressure. And TLF, he is definitely creating pressure. Yes, his scoreline hasn't been the best, but that's been because of the fact that that's the only play available for AOE Reborn, is just throw bodies at this Camille. On the flip side, they just haven't been able to do anything. Like, look.
The Udyr goes in.
That's it.
Just to die. The
Executes.
gold lead is laughable. This is why you never fight against an Elder Dragon. You will lose. Oh, obviously that's a team that's, you know, at this point, 15,
they were already 5 feet under.
16,000 gold ahead. But even from behind, those fights don't look too different. Cosa Gaming cleaning up this one real easy. They're gonna take a 1-0 lead on the series.
I don't know if it was cleaning up. I think they just ran him over. Because that was truly a scene of carnage on that rift.
Yeah, that was not what I expected at all. There was not that much attention towards the top side. That was a game where Cosa Gaming, it felt like they played through the Camille by giving her no resources whatsoever. They essentially just said,
she was but a
right,
distraction.
You do your thing. The entire enemy team is going to be trying to stop you. We're just going to win the game while they're doing it. And that's how it worked. Cosa Gaming took Baron, they took Elder, they took every Dragon, every Rift Herald, every Tower, all while AoE were trying to chase the Camille. We might need to change the #1 rule of League of Legends.
Don't chase TLF.
True.
Yeah. Well, in any case, for the side of AOE Reborn, when it comes to that next game, probably just ban Camille. You know?
Yeah. I would like to see the Tristana too. I think she's a really crazy flex pick. Very safe, offers a lot of tower damage, great team fight, just offers way too much right now in the current meta. So the Camille and the Tristana, two that I would like to see off the table. Is there a third that you have in mind, Nightstar?
Oh, a third. I mean, in this game, we saw the Volibear actually just do super well, which was surprising. Again, Udyr was, I feel like, almost 20 to 30 seconds behind on his clear.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard from Cubby, that clear without a leash around, and that fight topside, it was way past that time. So maybe a little bit suboptimal passing, but credit goes to the Volibear for being able to still find the fight, snowball a lead, and continue to really take advantage of that lead.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Cosa Gaming. Remember, this team, they got a series loss in their first week because, you know, they FF'd that game 1. After that, it was a close 1-1 series. We'll see if they can close it out. This time around, we're going to toss it to a short break. Cosa Gaming are up 1-0. This time looking to turn it into a 2-0. We'll see you after the break. Well, there's no rest for the wicked. These teams are getting us right into game number 2. We're already in the draft, guys. There is no breaks here at the UCL. At least Cosa Gaming, they want to go to bed. They're ready to wrap this one up 2-0, head on home and get a good old night or shut-eye. Bans coming through. Now, teams have swapped this time. Cosa on the blue side, AOE on the red. We banned away Kiana, Olaf, Thresh. On the side of AOE, the Volley Bear, we wanted that one. The Seraphine Darius, the Camille is going to go over. First pick the Tristano away, but Camille going over. That's a big head scratcher. Camille was so powerful in game number 1 and really felt pivotal to that success.
Okay, and it looked, well, it is a side swap here. So the Camille will be going into the hands of the side of AOE
true.
Reborn.
Yeah, thank you, Nightstar.
Yeah, I got you. But interestingly enough, they've gone for Cho'Gath Gragas. So I would expect one of those champions is going to be matched up against the Camille. And I feel like the Camille just has just a nice time. Most likely it'll be the Gragas. But that also means, is the Cho'Gath going mid? Is it going into the jungle? Like, what's the plan with this Cho'Gath? Just because Gragas has a nice matchup into Camille, being able to alter or ult the Camille out with it's the alt interaction. I'm getting a little bit too wordy there, but the alt interaction, Gragas nullifies Camille's ult.
Yeah, and this could just be a situation where, you know, they're saying, hey, I know this Camille matchup inside and out. This is my champion. You're going to try to pick my champion against me. I know how to counter this one the perfect way. So we'll see what actually goes into that top lane. I would have a hard time seeing that Gragas in the jungle. And if Cho'Gath does go top, my question then is, what is the jungle going to be? Because they didn't pick up a jungler in their first rotation. Unless Gragas is going there, there's the opportunity to start really pinching that pool. And if you don't get an aggressive jungler, somebody that can, you know, follow up on that decent laning matchup or kind of lane absorption matchup in the top lane, if you pick another supportive jungler, well, then the Camille's just going to run all over top lane.
Yeah, and I think here they were fine in doing that because they know that the side of AOE Reborn, they just don't have second round bans, and that is because Fuzar hasn't played enough games. So remember, guys, if you are playing in the league, make sure you get your games in to make sure your team doesn't lose out on pivotal second round bans, because second round bans really make the difference. A lot of times first round bans, if you drop a few of them, yes, you leave OP picks, but there's more OP picks all around. So the second round's really where you'd like to have those extra bans. But now we're going to see the complete composition, and it looks like we will be seeing the Tristana go back into that mid lane, and it looks like it'll be set. I want to say set because Galio mid shouldn't have a good time, shouldn't be allowed to have a good time against Tristana.
Yeah, it really shouldn't. I mean, it makes more sense in a comp, you know, when you're looking at it from what the comp needs, because
you want
the
to play
Galio
top
in
side.
the mid lane can go to the Camille. But I think you're right. It's such a hard matchup into the Tristana. You're never going to have kill threat, at least, and she is going to be constantly shoving you under the tower, making it difficult for you to roam. And if you leave her alone for a wave, goodbye, mid-tier 1. You won't be seeing that again. So we'll see how it shakes up. This is definitely a much more tame composition in my eyes for Cosa Gaming. They don't have the Camille up in the top lane. It's going to be a Cho'Gath, as I assume that Gragas is going to be jungling. We'll see how it actually shapes up in the in-client draft. But regardless, that is not a winning matchup in any shape. So they're kind of just playing through the mid lane here. I mean, Ezreal Braum, again, safe lane. Plus, you're not going to kill a Senna. If this Tristana does not get her, you know, her hit the ground running, I have a lot of worries for Costa Gaming because the composition on the side of AOE, much more well-rounded, a lot of tools to fight with at every stage of the game. And I think it outscales too because they have the Senna.
You would think that, but if it ends up being the Galio into the mid lane, I think it alleviates some of that pressure. But if they throw the set into the mid lane, while it is I would say a world better matchup in that mid lane, it means that you're going to lack magic damage later on in the game. So I think it really depends on the setup here. If Galio ends up going mid, even then, I don't know if Galio ever gets off the ground to be a threat. So then still you're looking at a pretty much full AD composition, and that is problematic. It wasn't as problematic in the last game because if you look at the comp, there wasn't like a giga tank, but there is this time. You have Cho'Gath, and Cho'Gath can just be that invincible tank in this game that they just can't ever deal with.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways for this game to really start to snowball out of control for both sides. If these tanks get ahead of the gold curve and they can get some resistances in, there's like no tank shred for the side of AOE. You know, that's a Senna who needs a lot of stacks and a lot of items before she's going to be chewing through any health bars, and you don't have another traditional marksman to pick up that slack, maybe the Hecarim, but vice versa, you know. We've talked about if this Tristana, this Ezreal doesn't get off the ground, there's almost no damage for the side, for the other side. So you're also just going to get run over. The one thing I will say, though, for the side of AOE is I think that they have an insane amount of skirmishing tools for the early to mid game, like especially around the level 6 to level 9 stages when you get access to the ultimates from Senna and Galio, get those globals, the Hextech ultimatum. If they can really use that time well, that kind of 10-minute time frame to fight around objectives, try to get aggressive in the jungle, steal away camps, be very active, I think they have a lot of tools to pick up an incredible amount of gold. And maybe that's the window that can help them take down their opponents and, get back into the series.
Yeah, so it looks like from the draft, it's going to be the Galio thrown into the mid lane to match that Tristana. So again, this matchup is pretty terrible for Galio. So I think all eyes just have to be on this mid lane. Whether just kind of depends on how hard Toasty Alex can punish this mid lane and then transition that lead into perhaps more kill pressure onto the jungle. If they shut down the Hecarim, that's a lot of their frontline gone because support set doesn't get super tanky himself. And that makes things a lot more difficult for things like the Senna. The Galio shouldn't ever be relevant to kind of account for a body in front of Senna, and Camille, well, she's never playing in front of Senna. So how does the Senna get to play then?
Yeah. One more question before we set it off to a break and get ready for game number 2, Nightstar. You've pointed out the importance here of the mid lane. I want to ask you about the 2v2, the mid jungle at, let's say pre-6 and post-6. How does this 2v2 match up? Should they be looking to fight each other, and how would those fights turn out?
Yeah, I think the 2v2 should just be in big favor for the Tristana Gragas. Gragas himself does pack a respectable amount of damage. Of course, his clear isn't as great as the Hecarim. I think Hecarim's going to have a slight advantage in that regard. But post-6, it really comes down to how much of a lead has been accumulated. And if it's kind of the lead I expect it to be, I don't think it's even close after 6. Like, it might be close before 6, but after 6, with a gold advantage onto this Tristana and possibly onto Gragas because he's able to gank a little bit more readily into this mid lane, like, it could be off to the races, man.
Well, Nightstar wrote the script. Now the team just got to follow it. Is it going to be the 2-0 sweep for Cosa Gaming to redeem themselves from week 1, or will AOE, who have just lost their first game of this season, be able to strike back and take us to a game number 3? We're going to find out the other side of a short break. We'll see you there. We didn't press play. All right, guys, we're back. We've got a bit of a desync between the casters here and the feed that we're watching. So you're going to give us just a moment. We're going to get that synced up behind the scenes. Nightstar, I want you to tell us all about this game. Give me your full analysis.
My full analysis. Well, I guess we can touch on some of the mistakes that I kind of overlooked in the draft. I forget that Set's going to be the one farming in this bot lane, so he'll be a little bit more than just a budget tank. He'll be more of a pseudo tank here, which should help, unless of course he goes Stride Breaker, then things kind of get thrown back up in the air again. But I know you wanted to talk about some of the Hecarim and Tristana interactions, as TLF,
speaking of Hecarim,
he's going to lose some health.
As the phase rush for a little bit of extra damage. And I mean, it's going to be revealed that he's starting over here. We'll see if any response even comes out from Kiwi Pancake. He's still hovering around his red buff. We'll see if he walks into the jungle and goes for a vertical. I am questioning in my mind which team would benefit more from a vertical jungle style if Fuzzar is on the top side and Kiwi Pancake is on the bot.
Yeah, I think Fuzzar, if he gets to split this map here, which is kind of what he's looking to do right now, that's just pouring more resources into this Camille. You're setting this
meta though, because Kiwi Pancake, as they're
it's
watching
time to
the bot lane,
duel.
it's a level 1 fight. Shouldn't be much going on, but there's the Bromstomp. Concussive Blows is so strong, level 1. You gotta respect it. But AOE don't, and they have already lost 1 kill. Oh,
is this another one?
Cooldown. Indigo.
Wait, what? Huh?
AOE
He
are
wanted
still
Hex
shook
Slash
from game 1. And that's not what you want to see in a comeback game. Not at all.
They don't look reborn whatsoever. Audio.
Oh, man.
I think it's time to get reincarnated.
Nightstar, because like before that play happened, we were considering the vertical jungle. Didn't happen. Kiwi Pancake ended up fighting for his camps, but Fuzzar still stole some away. But in a vertical jungle situation, like you're playing for your bot side, now bot just lost. Hecarim has top control. Like I feel like they just lost everything that they could do in the early game.
I think saying they lost everything is understatement here.
I might be being a bit dramatic here, but hey,
no. I think that's an understatement, because now you're going to get 3 buffs onto your Hecarim. He's going to he might just get double scuttle. Like you're having your cake, eating it, and your neighbor's cake too. Like what? That's a lot of cake. I hope you like cake.
Yeah, I think Fuzzar is just honestly really lucky that Kiwi Pancake did not go for that vertical jungle, because that would feel really bad right now if his bot lane got blasted, lost both their lives, and then he goes bot lane to find his entire jungle taken away. Not going to be the case though. We live in the universe where he did 3 buff and he is sitting, a sizable tempo lead, at least ahead of Kiwi Pancakes. Is only up about 300 gold, but oh, look at that interrupt. It's the 3-man roam.
Bada bing, bada boom.
All the way from the bot lane is going to help that kill go through.
A massive pickup there, and now in this mid lane, can they get it? No.
Tostiao just walks away. He's really good at that. Just walking away from his opponents.
Yeah. Develop the skill, Sometimes you gotta work at it, but I mean, that top lane gank was nuts, and now out to a 3-0 lead. This early aggression's still paying off.
Jake is still here. Can they turn this around?
Oh, teleport.
No, TLF is gone. Now it's just the support left. They've teleported in Galio. He's a bit late to the party.
Yeah.
Remember what I said about leaving Tristana alone in lane? She's not going to get any tower damage. Uses the explosive charge on the wave, but that is a free base if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it is a really, really free base because this Galley still wants to recall. He still hasn't bought yet. Like, you have to go buy at some point. And if you don't go for a recall after this wave, that means Toasty Alex, he gets a full pickaxe to come back into lane into you. Like, the fight difference is just vastly different. And now, even if he does get the back off, he has to walk all the way back into mid lane.
And look at the map. The dragon is on the table. I mean, if I am Cosa right now, I'm actually like spam pinging the drink because the Senna just reset. You know you have an item advantage over the Galio.
TLF is in 6.
It's a top lane play though. Fuzzar is here. He's gonna take TLF down, put that into the pocket of Johnny Rockets, and yeah, now the Drake call is coming through. They see the jungler, and that is a 100% trade that for the dragon.
Yeah. And Toasty Alex, he'll just continue to be able to farm up as well. So they get Dragon, they get more advantage into this mid lane. And while it hasn't quite played out what I expected it to, how I expected it to play out in this mid lane, where Toasty Alex should just kind of run away with the lane. It hasn't happened yet, but should eventually get to that point. And he gets a free roam here because, again, Galley is stuck mid.
1v4 gets tagged by the concussive blows. Oh, beautiful pullback from Sunbay there. Kept Toasty Alex out of vision range. Jake, 50 HP from the turret. And a flashes
too long now.
W, 3-man root. And 163 braces flashes in for the kill. Kiwi Pancake is going to get out alive. But Toasty Alex has the flash to try to do the same.
Oh, he got tagged. He's gone.
W from the Senna. That's going to be 2 kills. The botch dive there from Cosa. Put some gold back into AoE's pockets.
And that was a big botch dive, to be honest, there. And now it really throws this game into question. TLF once again.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, TLF? You can't push up in this lane.
Well, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times and 4 times and 5. Wait, what?
And this starts to confirm some of my fears, I guess, for Cosa. And the game 1 where they looked really good last week when they played a similar comp in both series. You take TLF off the Camille, he looks a lot less uncomfortable. He's still walking up in lane. He's still positioning like he's an aggressive lane bully, but he's not. He's Cho'Gath, and he's tank Cho'Gath. He's not even going AP.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Where you play like the Camille, but your skill sets aren't the same as the Camille. You don't have the ability to run away from 2 screens away because you don't have that extra mobility. And now, Kiwi Pancake, he's been lost. Everyone on the side of Cosa Gaming in this game, in game number 1, we saw him with a lot of farm advantages. This time around, definitely not those same advantages in that top jungle because Kiwi Pancake just got a base off, which is like 8 minutes into the game. That is way too late to get your first items. And then you look at the difference in the jungle speed, like 60 to 40. Hello? 2 level advantage? Hello?
Yeah. Here goes the bot play. Fuzzar, he's running in. Galio's behind him. There's the ultimate. Charge forward to fear him back. Set up for the Senna shot. It doesn't quite land. Jake flashes away, but they get the kills anyway. Beautifully executed. And I want to bring up, if you look at the Galio's inventory, Ionian Boots of Lucidity and a Kindle Gem. Saw this this weekend in the LEC. They were playing Nocturne with this, but it gives you an incredible amount of CDR. And if you can get it before the first ultimate, Johnny Rockets, 1v3, he should die. They're going to knock him back into the Tristana. That was a bit risky, but it does go off well. But as I was saying, getting that CDR for the Galio before that first ultimate is going to mean that second one is going to come offline really quickly. You can see already almost halfway off cooldown. That might surprise Cosa Gaming just a little bit here if they're not careful.
Yeah, this also happened when Blabber got that first blood.
Yeah, true.
Of many onto Alfari. Yeah. On the Nocturne, he gets it. He goes for Lucidity and the Kindle Gem, and it's really just an alt-based build where you're looking to pretty much trigger your ultimate on cooldown and apply non-stop pressure. Surprised that he's been kind of allowed that option, because again, this Tristana did have big lane advantages as far as tempo goes, but a lot of that kind of gifted away to a certain degree. But now we're going to see a
Here's
skirmish.
The Herald play. The members
got
of
numbers
Cosa
advantage.
are here first, and they're on to Sunbay. He puts up the shield.
Galio's
Concussive
laid.
charge is on him, though. He is going to go down. Toasty Alex free fire.
Galio is here, though.
TLF is low. He has to chomp just for a little bit of health.
They're all low.
At 1200. Fuzzar is munching on the fruits. Toasty Alex hops back over the wall. Kiwi Pancake goes golden. TLF has to run. Fuzzar eats some more fruit. Herald's about to take him down.
Oh, Ezreal's here.
Fights back. He does smite and secures the kill, but he's not there to pick up the eye. The objective will not go over. 163 Praises has nowhere to go. The kills will.
Oh
Wait, no.
teleport.
Fuzzar got the high. 163 Braces flashed away. They got the Herald and the Galio lives. I thought that was going to be so good for Cosa, but AOE walk away with everything, and they're going to kill the Tristana. Oh my, bad turns to worse, turns to catastrophic for Cosa Gaming.
And the only play they have available to them is to walk at a Cloud Dragon. I don't even know if they're even going to be able to make that play, because if you look at Kiwi Pancake, he's still lost. He's still a little bit clueless. He's trying to farm his wolf camp right now, where you really need to just pull the trigger onto that dragon, and now it looks like most likely they'll have to concede that objective as well.
And the fight looked so good for Cosa. They had the numbers advantage there. They caught AoE off guard. They blew up Sunbee at the beginning of the fight, and it looked like Toasty Alex was about to just get a triple kill, but they couldn't finish off the members. Fuzzar got the honey fruit twice in that fight. He was on 100 HP for like a solid 20 seconds. And not only not finishing the kills, but allowing him to come back in and take the objective, allowing them to set up for the redive, which got them more kills in the back end. I think that was, the shot for Cosa to get back into this game, and they flubbed it. It was like, not to say that was completely their fault. It was also, partly gold deficit, partly well played by AOE, but they didn't make it. And now the next window of opportunity is probably not going to come anytime soon.
Yeah, at the very least, they were able to grab one of the early dragons. So that helps them out considerably, and just being able to try and get some of these power spikes. But with how the pace of game's going, it feels like a complete 180 script flip from game number 1, where Cosa, they were the ones in firm control of the pace of the game. They had all the moves. They had all the outplays as well, and now it's all on the other foot. So for the side of AOE Reborn, hopefully they're able to kind of just carry this momentum through and just finish this game out in a clean fashion.
Oh, Camille's caught out, but Fuzzar's there to save him. What a play. No mana, but he still goes right in with no fear. TLF's tanky, but he's not that tanky. He has to flash away. Currently sitting on a garage sale of items. Flash or
exhaust
from the Ezreal. Exhaust. It's gonna make sure the Senna stays alive, but just barely.
Now supportal combat, baby.
Okay,
White Knight.
One's a Braum.
Ding ding.
And one's got an ADC waiting just over the wall. Let's play the concussive blows onto the Senna.
Wait a second.
Down. One more auto attack would have done it, but it can't come through. It's another kill onto the Senna. It's another kill for AoE.
Yeah, and this farming Senna hasn't done super well as far as lane goes, but it's done very well when it comes to these fights. So I mean, in all honesty, you don't have to farm insanely well onto the Senna pick, because again, you love to pick up those extra souls, and that almost got the kill, but almost has kind of just been the name of the game for Cosa in game number 2.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and unfortunately for Cosa, we're not playing either.
Yeah,
now,
I think we're playing League of Legends.
While we have a bit of a lull moment, I want to bring my attention back to the mid lane. Let's focus on 163 Braces. I want to talk a bit more about his build. Now, when I initially saw this composition, I was thinking about the scaling, as I usually do, and factoring in a full AP Galio into my calculations. Going with the Shirelias, obviously still going to do some damage. How much is he trading the late game scaling and the team fight, the potential power for this more utility focused build? And is it going to change the end game dynamic between these two teams?
So I think it offers them a lot more mid game, because it helps out both of their what should be 2 chem tank front lines in the set and the Hecarim. And that's going to help supplement a lot of their dive pressure, because this is pretty much a dive composition. The Senna's just sitting back and hopefully throwing an ultimate out, and with the pressure coming in from this dive comp, then you get the space to be able to throw in all those auto attacks and whatnot afterwards. But we'll have to see how it ends up panning out, if it goes according to plan. But I do like this more supportive build to try and just really take over this mid game.
Yeah, I agree. Now
And
Johnny
Rocket
out once again. I mean, he's got the fancy feet, but are they going to be enough? He doesn't get stunned up quite yet. He's not just one more.
What?
He's so good.
Oh.
He duked out an explosive barrel there. Now
the rest of them are here.
Engage Fuzzar is on top of the team. Here comes the Galio ult. Senna layered on top. Don't fight this team in a
Camille's back.
God, the wombo combo for days. An AOE Reborn. They're living up to their names. They're layering on the area of effect damage. Toasty Alex, the last standing member. He'll trade. Oh, no, he doesn't. Brace his head.
Someone tank it. Okay.
It's the clean ace. It's delayed, but it's the clean ace for AOE Reborn.
They threw 4 people at Camille, and the Ezreal channeled ultimate instead of weaving that last auto to land the stun, and I'm just depressed, man. I don't have much to say.
With a interesting teleport.
I'm depressed.
I mean, they saw the Senna alone in the lane. They wanted to collapse on it. They had the ward, yes, but they had no vision of the enemy team, especially TPing to the bottom lane river. When Dragon is up, like, you got to expect the enemy team to be right there.
Audio. I'm depressed. I'm so sad. Like, how did we get to this point? The side of Cosa, they look so lost. They
stole
don't.
the Camille, man. They stole the life force.
They stole the brain cells. All their limited brain cells
in the Camille, man.
It's all gone. The heart, soul.
And all memorizing her damage ratio.
No, it's all gone wrong, man. Now we're almost to a 10k gold lead at 19 minutes. Like, where do you even go from here? And even this Cho'Gath, this is going to be the Everfrost build instead of the Chem Tank build, which means that he's going to be a little bit more fragile, ever so slightly. At the very least, it plays very well into this composition, because if you look at all those champions I outlined before, they just want to get in onto you. You know, at the very least, Everfrost is good at dealing with that.
Yeah, but you need more disengage in a composition that already has a Gragas, a Tristana, an Ezreal, and a Braum. Like, at some point, you gotta say, like, enough disengage tools. We just need health. We need armor. We need magic resist to actually get the stats to put you in front of this composition and live for more than a couple of seconds. Cool, you're going to get the stun. It doesn't matter if you die afterwards. Toasty Alex has to hop away and will stay safe, but Fuzzar, he's looking for a lane to call this Herald home.
You might as well just do it with a Baron.
Yeah, why not just set it up with the Baron play? Shelly and her older cousin teaming up here.
Yeah, they could just have a Baron Herald push here, which would be absolutely devastating. You can definitely run away with both Nexus towers in that case.
No concession. Flash forward, making sure Kiwi can't get in the pit.
Somebody should just say ult. Just ult.
Not even close.
Okay. There we go.
They
Easy
do get somebody down to about a quarter HP.
They want to fight though.
They know that they don't have any other chance. This is the last
they found it.
stand for Cosa Gaming. They found one kill. Looking like they're going to get a second. There's the shutdown.
Okay.
And finally, a little bit of breathing room here for Cosa. They get some shutdown in their pockets, and they get a little bit of time on Summoner's Rift. We'll see what they can do with it.
Yeah, they're going to have numbers advantage for a brief moment in time here. And the Ezreal is somewhat powerful at this stage in the game, so that's really nice for him. It looks like he's going for the Triforce build, so not going for the lethality build, which I think makes sense here because you're dealing with a lot of these tanks and very durable champions for the most part, unless if you're trying to hit Senna, but that's not very likely until the very end, unless if of course she does misposition like she did in that last fight. But for the side of Cosa Gaming, you take that trade and you're able to continue to hopefully slow down this game. Most likely, next dragon goes into the hands of AOE Reborn, but I think you're okay with that.
And it's the little victories that are just keeping that window ever so slightly cracked open here for Cosa.
Yeah.
That getting the one early dragon to mean that they are not on soul point right now.
Yep.
Getting those shutdowns to keep it at least within that 10,000 gold mark. Sure, the game is not going to be easy, and they're in a position where they're probably going to lose it, but a couple more mistakes, just like this one, they found Sunbay right as the Herald goes down.
Yeah, and that means Herald won't be able to really get much out of it here.
Unless
we'll get one charge. Oh, okay. Just kidding.
He doesn't even use the chomp there. I'm pretty sure if he chomps the Herald there, it counts as a like non-unit stack. Yeah, an epic monster.
Huh. We'll definitely have to try that out.
Yeah, I'd have to be fact-checked on that one, but makes sense in my head.
Yeah, it definitely does make sense. And now Johnny Rockets, this feels very reminiscent of the previous game where TLF had the Camille just playing super far forward, you know, baiting out a lot of cooldowns. But this time around, he's actually kind of grouping up more with his team actively than what we did see coming out from TLF.
We actually, if you were watching the mini-map, we just saw a little active tug of war with TLF where he was heading towards the top wave, wanting to clear it out. He's like, wait, should I? No, I'm gonna go help my team. Here comes the engage now. Galio Ultimate channel. King is just dead at the start of it all. This is looking really good for AOE. Jake is down low too. Toasty Alex jumps out of the fight. He gets one reset. Shutdown goes on to the Cho'Gath.
Indigo's so strong though.
Gone. The back line has to run. Toasty Alex, 1 HP. He heals. He flashes. He's trying to kite backwards. But the damage comes through. Indigo's the last member standing. As real Slippy, we've seen the highlight plays. Can it happen this time?
Oh my god, he has so much damage. No way.
First two abilities, but the Senna slow.
Wait.
Can he get the third? It's on BS the running.
Oh my god.
3. Indigo does it.
I think that was the unofficial penta. I honestly think that was all 5 kills going into his hands.
What a madman on the Ezreal. Now, teleport back in from TLF. He's got the chomp. Dude, eat the... Okay, he didn't have it on cooldown. Okay, I'm sorry, TLF. But
just eat Johnny Rockets.
They delay that soul even farther. Cosa Gaming are not out of this one yet. They lost
certainly are.
the cuddle though, so.
Yeah, that might be game over. TLF had ult for that. Let it be known, he could have just eaten the crab.
Yeah.
But
Come
you know
on,
what?
man. How many stacks does this guy have? I've seen like 3 scenarios already.
Is he max stacks?
He's got 9.
Okay.
He's doing okay.
All right, he's doing well. He's got the HP. He just needs level 16. Like, once level
he's-
16 hits, I think he gets like what? Like another maybe 1300 HP or something like that? Does he get another 150 on each stack?
He gets an extra 40 per stack, currently at 9 stacks.
Okay.
So that's an extra 360 health.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
high school
still-
algebra. You have not failed me.
Still plenty of health there, and it definitely still means like this
Look how much health he
composition.
has.
Yeah, like this composition still outscales, in my opinion, in the 5v5. The issue is the Night Harvester Gragas is just not pulling its weight, man.
It's not. And eventually it will, but that point is very far down the line.
Yeah.
And I want to circle all the way back around to the itemization from 163 braces. He is going toward the demonic embrace, embracing more of a full AP style now. But just that small deviation into the Shirelias, into this Bramble Vest, is going to turn him into more of a utility frontliner, which means the
Yep.
late game suffers a little bit, as the payoff for getting that extra.
Oh,
bit
this is a pick.
further reinforces Toasty Alex is the kill. Just that easy. They're
Indigo.
starting to look real good for Cosa Gaming. Their 2 marksmen are getting a lot of gold.
Yeah, their marksmen are starting to really pick up the pace here. Now they're going to turn on the Baron. They have, of course, Feast, so this should be unstealable. They have to go for the
They
fight.
should be turning for the fight, though. Hecarim into the backline. He finds a massive fear onto both carries. There he goes again.
Indigo's still alive, though.
No, but they
Indigo!
Indigo is doing so much damage, and he's still alive. His Ezreal is so hard to kill, man. Ezreal Tristana is just too mobile. And it's kills all around. Cosa Gaming, this is their game now. They may be 6,000 gold behind, but they're in the lead. I'm calling it, Nightstar. They're winning this game.
It never got to the 10k gold point. I'm pretty sure it got to like 9.5. It got close to 10k, but it never stayed above 10k for any extended moment of time, besides maybe right after that first Baron. And now with the gold shrinking, like, how do you get onto this Ezreal? The positioning coming in from the Camille just isn't good enough to try and delete Ezreal. She has to come from flanks, and right now she's running very honestly just straight front to back, which you cannot do on a champion like Camille.
And especially not with the build path she shows. And this is a side lane bully the Cho'Gath split push build. I mean, you have a Titanic Hydra. If that was a Sterix Gauge, Indigo might be dead right now. Like, that could have been a whole different fight. The Baron might even have gone over. Like, that's a little bit of extreme, but we don't know what could have happened if maybe the itemization was just a little bit different. And it starts to showcase how close these games really can be. Now, though, it's 5,000 gold down for Cosa, but that gold lead doesn't really mean much as the core items are coming online. Toasty Alex, he's got almost enough gold to go back and finish what I assume is going to be a Bloodthirster. He's sitting just on the precipice. Ezreal, though, 3 items, Triforce, Soreldia's, and the Transform Your Mana.
Yep.
He is so strong right now.
He is insane. He is so strong, and the other thing is there's just no pressure onto him. And if they're able to secure a second Inferno Dragon, now you're looking at the Inferno Dragon really contributing into his power as well. And this comp does get a lot more impact from Inferno than the side of AOE Reborn, in my opinion. Yes, you have the Senna and you have the Camille, but it just doesn't compare.
Yeah. And at the same time, getting this dragon We'll just buy more time. Oh no, they spotted Sunday on the flank, and they picked him off. TLF though is going to be the trade.
That's the big smite.
Laner for support, and you're right. That's the smite that you layer on top of the smite. Galio ultimate, Dragon resets, Senna goes on top of everything.
Healing.
It's a huge taunt and huge
Indigo.
But there's no threat onto the ADCs. Indigo does die. Toasty Alex is second. I was wrong. There's plenty of threat. They have the fight. They have the kills, and they have the dragon. Oh my, what a match we have between these two teams, Nightstar. I could not have asked for a better game two.
Yeah, it's just so back and forth. And in that fight, that time, they were able to layer enough CC for not only the CC to lock them down, but for life without us to actually walk up and auto those two AD carries. And that made the difference right then and there. You get the extra crit, the range advantage now starting to slowly kick in for the Senna. Eventually, it looks like she'll be able to reach the Ezreal and Tristana a lot more consistently, and that might make the difference here. And now they're able to put themselves first onto Soul Point.
Yeah. 163 braces also huge in that fight. Flash forward. I don't know if he is running Celerity, but got a massive burst of movement speed. Probably the Shirelia's on top of it. But there was no running away from his taunt. Like Toasty Alex and Indigo, they used everything they had, and they could not escape that taunt. And once it landed, easy peasy for Fuzzar to land that Onslaught of Shadows right on top. And Indigo didn't even really get to be a part of that fight. If he had, it probably looks way different. But you were right, Life Without Us finally got a chance to play the game. And that's how the fights need to go if you are the side of AOE. Because at this point, I think the scaling has tipped in favor of Cosa. If you leave these marksmen unobstructed, they are going to beat you in an extended fight. So they have to find a way to layer that CC onto both of them, because even just leaving one of them alive is asking for trouble.
Now, fight advantage should go to the side of... we're going to see the fight here right now.
Again, it starts off with a pick on the Sunbay. And AoE, they're going to back off. They know that they're now at a numbers disadvantage. That's going to start to slow down the Baron push.
And right before he got caught out, I was going to...
Oh, no.
Okay. Another catch.
Maybe next game, you'll get to talk about why what's happening is happening, Nightstar.
Yep.
Johnny Rockets dives in. They get the
fight.
kill onto Pancakes. They get a second, but he is traded back. Tristana shuts down Johnny Rockets, and that's the key for them to jump forward. The front line dies, though, so there's no more protection for Indigo.
Versus
he doesn't care.
Us.
He goes forward anyway. Dodges the CC. True Shot Barrage does go wide. And so that's going to be the fight. Disengage. 3 traded for 1. AoE is going to take that 7 days of the week.
Yeah, and you can see how terrified all these frontline champions are. Because they, on both sides, you have no means to get onto the Senna consistently unless if you hit the perfect Gragas barrel. So the frontline champs on the side of Cosa, they're terrified of the Senna. And on the flip side, for the side of AOE Reborn, they're terrified of this Ezreal because they use all their engage. Somehow he survives yet again, and then he just turns it around. Like, it really just comes down to this marksman battle in this bot side. It's down to Indigo, it's down to Life Without Us, and boy, is it a barn burner at the very end.
Both comps seem to be struggling with different things. Cosa are just struggling to actually find the engage and attack the Senna. The side of AoE, they're just struggling to survive the meat grinder. There's just so much damage that, yes, you have a Camille, yes, you have a Hecarim and a Galio and a Set, but they have to walk towards the marksman to use those abilities. And if you do that and those marksmen auto attack you for a quarter of your HP, you start to think twice about wanting to pull that trigger. And we're getting to that point where there's so much damage packed into these marksmen that if that engage is not without hesitation and
Yep.
landed perfectly. You make one misstep and Toasty Alex and Indigo will shred through you like paper mache.
Yeah, they will absolutely obliterate you at this stage in the game. And man, we're coming towards another
Wards save
dragon
lives,
here.
ladies and gentlemen, but they also take them. They're going to spot the disembodied figures of AoE running in and out of the Senna Shroud. Here comes the teleport, though. Camille knows that this is the soul. This is the fight that you have to be here for. More important than the tower. And it's
No
going to be
flank
started
angles,
up.
though.
TLF is alive. They have the super smite available. He goes in. Sunbee just gets absolutely deleted. He's the first death of the fight. Kiwi Pancake goes golden to stay alive. Dragon gets secured. Soul goes
That's Soul.
over to AoE. Watch the ADCs though. Toasty Alex and Indigo are alive, but the front line is gone. There's no more protection. Toasty Alex jumps in. Goes golden. Senna is going to live. Indigo changes that, but he can't get back over the wall.
Oh, he's so close!
Have the damage to find the triple kill. It will be the cleanup for AoE. They will barely hold on to their lives, but they will get the Infernal Soul. And it looks like they want to pick up this inhibitor too.
Yeah, and the Infernal Soul is going to make a massive difference for this composition because, again, with how the Camille's been playing, she's been playing a very honest play style, just going in face first, hasn't really taken these creative angles to try and make life difficult, and as a result, hasn't necessarily been able to output the maximum amount of damage that a Camille should be able to get. And that's why, with this extra Inferno, that helps her damage because of her playstyle. And it also helps out the rest of the front line, being able to actually do a little bit more before they actually die. Because
nice
Sunbee,
start.
you
I wanna
better
point
believe
out
he's
here-
not living.
Jake just spotted Fuzzar here, and now Cosa know that the Hecarim has not backed. We're gonna spot him again here. There is a small window, although it seems to be closing as the marksmen are clearing mid. No,
Runs
they're
right there,
actually
runs
gonna
right
spot
there.
this. They know Hecarim's on a reset. They're gonna try to rush down the Baron before he gets back.
There we go.
Now
That's
Hecarim's
the play.
here really fast, and Sunbay's on a flank. This is so dangerous.
Oh.
Look at the set. Look at the set. Can he make something
Wait.
happen? Beautiful pass hits the setup forward, but they can't connect onto her. Both ADCs are safe in the back line, but the Hecarim's on top of them. Indigo gets feared into the fight. AoE, they're in a good position. They've chewed
That's
through
it.
all the
That's
front
it.
line, and once again, it is the marksmen left alone to fend for themselves, but they can't.
Game 3,
AoE
baby.
Kill them. They run through the fight, and they're gonna run through the base. They're gonna bring us to a game 3.
And what a way to do it in a 38-minute slugfest. We were talking about Fight Night. Well, that is definitely the embodiment of Fight Night right here, right on the Rift at UCL. So, man, I cannot wait for game number 3.
I can't either. I mean, if it's gonna go at all like these first 2 games have gone, well, maybe a little less like game 1, a little bit more like game 2 would be preferable. But man, what a back and forth. For most of that game, except for, I'd say the middle to later stages, it did feel very heavy-handedly in the favor of AoE, which was a stark contrast to game 1. And I, again, am sort of feeling like this Camille, man, is so pivotal to this composition because TLF and subsequently Kiwi Pancake looked really lost here in game number 2.
Yeah, for the side of Cosa Gaming, they really did need, didn't necessarily have to be that Cho'Gath, but some sort of mobility top laner where they are able to play a little bit more aggressively top side or be able to utilize this pressure. This time around, put on the Cho'Gath. That wasn't quite the same, but I think more importantly here, I think it was the difference in the junglers. This game, this time around, Fuzar he was able to really generate a lead with this Hecarim. The early start also just allowed him to put the not Graves, but Gragas so far behind. The Gragas was just non-stop lost around the map, and even at the very end of the game, only had 2 items. Everyone else was decked out in bling, and this guy's just like, he's living in tatters.
Well, we know that these teams like to jump straight into drafts. So before they pull a fast one on us, I'm going to toss it over to a short break.
We need a break,
we'll collect our thoughts, and we'll let these teams get ready for what is sure to be a banger of a Game 3 match. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to game number 3 here of Cosa Gaming, taking on AOE Reborn in week 2 of the Upsurge Contenders League. I'm Audio, joining me in Nightstar, and this series is starting to heat up. Game number 2. Woo! I mean, I hate to even ask Nightstar, but what was that about?
It was all about the 80 carries.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Well, 3, if you count the other side.
3 of them, but it was mostly about the 2 in the bottom lane. The Ezreal and the Senna, they were the stars of that game. But to get to that point, it felt like it was all about the other lanes in the jungle, in the top lane. And you saw those clear differences, and also just the champion picks really showcase in how those mid and late game team fights did play out because of the limitations provided by those champions.
Yeah, and the Camille being taken away was also, I think, a really big throw off the comfort zone here of Cosa. They've played it every single game thus far, which again, we're only in week 2. They're short season, so that's not saying much, but they played it in both games of their week 1 series. And although only found success with it in 1 game, it's not only was it taken away, I think the AOE also played to it much more effectively than Cosa did, even in game 1. Now, in game number 1, Cosa didn't really have to play through it, but that was one of the small gripes that I had about what was an otherwise nearly flawless game from them, was that even early on, there was almost no resources put into the Camille. Not so with AOE Reborn. That Hecarim, that Galio were constantly visiting up there, making sure that this Cho'Gath was not having a fun time. And it starts to, make me wonder, going into game 3, it does look like Cosa are still going to be on blue side. So that's going to be remaining the same. Are they going to still put priority on the Tristana first pick, or will it be the Camille?
Yeah, I think...
Oh, neither.
Here, okay, so it will be the Hecarim. I think the Hecarim did make a big difference in that game number 2, just because he was able to apply early game pressure, but also still be able to scale. On the flip side, we are going to see the Udyr come out as a response, and this time around, we need to see how Fuzar does play out the pick, although it looks like he's going to opt into the Olaf instead. Olaf has been a pick that's still very much played, but his impact has really slowed down. He doesn't seem to... It doesn't feel like he runs away with the early game anymore, where in previous patches he was able to find early game leads and really snowball off of it. It doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Because I definitely think I would have preferred the Udyr at least. But in game number 1, we can remember that the Udyr did not have a lot of success at actually getting onto the members of Cosa. They had the Tristana then too. They had the Karma keeping the Varus safe. And it always felt like, sure, Udyr could run stun, but the job was never done. And Olaf is a champion that once he gets to you, it's got a bit more oomph. And might be able to convert the kills. Although safety, if you're talking about it, Xayah one of the best for that, because there doesn't matter how much oomph you've got if you literally can't hurt her.
Yep, Xayah has risen in priority, I would say, because of how popular Kaisa still is. Kaisa also, I would say, falls very much into that Olaf vein as well, where it's still very much picked a whole lot, but the impact hasn't quite been there as well. Xayah coming in to respond makes a lot of sense here, and I really like the pick just because of how much safety and how well it plays into those first 3 picks over on the red side.
Yeah, although all the safety does come at a cost. Although you talked about the power being toned down a bit, but we still see an Olaf, Kaisa, and a Rel coming through for AOE Reborn, and those are 3 really strong picks. This is a composition that might be turning into quite the deadly death ball.
Yeah, I mean, it still has a lot of dive potential, but if you were to perhaps scroll back maybe 3 or 4 patches ago, that's when you look at that opening and just say it's game over. Yeah, like the game's done. There's no need to really even play out the game. But now here you're looking at this opening, and while it is strong, you need to see it really executed well. You don't get a whole lot of free passes on Olaf on Kaisa anymore. And so we'll need to see how they supplement this opening with the rest of their draft.
Yeah, what I'm going to need to see is game 2 Johnny Rockets that was able to obliterate the Gragas and just rebuff him at the start, and not game 1 Johnny Rockets that had the Udyr but was like 40 seconds behind on his clear.
Johnny Rockets is top. Wait a second.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Fuzzar. I was looking at the draft order in client, and they've got Johnny Rockets in the jungling position right now, but it's Fuzzar. My apologies, AOE Reborn, and to Fuzzar. But I want to see game 2 Fuzzar, not game 1 Fuzzar. That was 30 seconds behind on the Udyr, because this Olaf is not going to have the same impact as an Udyr if you don't have a great early game.
And now they're going to actually open up with the Syndra, which the Galio pick, if you're throwing Galio into the mid lane to match the Syndra, makes a whole lot of sense, because he is just, with the power of Syndra coming down, with Galio still being the same, it means Galio value does go up in that case. And okay, Malphite for last pick here.
Wow.
It could be just to really pick on the Syndra, because compositionally, that's the only champion you can really try and punish here. And it's also a blind pick Malphite, which is easily punishable here in this top side. So a lot of question marks for me.
I like that Yorick cover. I see now that we're just getting a spam of hovers. So Johnny Rockets, I'm sorry I mixed you up with Fuzzar. You don't got to troll me on the draft like that. Gonna be the Mordekaiser coming through. Mordekaiser definitely feeling better after some recent buffs, and does feel very good into most melee matchups. Is going to be able to at least shrug off the damage for the most part from those flying rocks. But, you know, how are you feeling about these last couple of picks that are coming through to round out these comps?
The Mordekaiser is a fine pick here. I think you'd like, or you'd prefer, an AP threat in that top lane to take advantage of Malphite's Malphite as a champion, and also just to further supplement the fact that you're lighter on the magic damage, because Syndra just doesn't hit as hard at 2-3 items as she used to. I personally would have liked to see a Vladimir pick. Vladimir dropped kind of off the radar, off the face of the map, really, but he has an excellent matchup into the Malphite. We won't get to see it this time around, so I won't delve too far into it, but the compositions are very much focused on both ends, more around the early mid game, so this game should be decided fairly early on.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's what the players would probably like to see, but what I want to see is a bloody early game, a bloody mid game, and get this one, a bloody late game. Non-stop in game number 3, because why else would you play Silver Scrapes if you're not gonna go all out for the action? And Andy, if we're not playing Silver Scrapes, by the way, in the pregame or in the intermission, I'm gonna be very upset.
No, we're playing Silver Scraps.
Scraps. Yeah, it's even better.
Yeah.
But and memes aside, though, I think that this is actually important for the side of AOE. This has to be a scrappy game with this Olaf coming through. This has to be a proactive game. And Fuzzar specifically, we got to see intelligent pathing. We got to see him understanding or utilizing the power of this pick, because if he doesn't, this game really starts to fall apart fast.
Yep, it will indeed. And at the very least, you look at that composition with the Olaf Kaisa, they should be able to dictate a lot of the early pacing of the game. And on the flip side, once you're able to get Galio to level 6, that's where you start to look for your punches, because they're level 6 with the Galio, a Hero's Entrance, with the Malphite ultimate. There's so much dive potential loaded into this kid. This Syndra probably doesn't ever get to play the game, to be fair. The Kaisa maybe doesn't as well if the positioning's just not there.
Well, let's talk about one piece that may be able to help with that, and that's going to be Johnny Rockets on the Mordekaiser. Now, Mordekaiser just makes fights so interesting because you can now take one of those dive pieces and potentially remove them from the fights. How does that change the way they want to go about this? What target do you think is the best for him to take out?
Yeah, so if he's going for like some sort of one of the dive pieces to strip away, you definitely look towards the Hecarim, because after he gets into the fight, he's able to continue to wreak havoc. It's not necessarily the case for a champion like Malphite or sometimes a Galio. However, I'm more looking at the Xayah pick. If you're able to just take away the Xayah, then you just kind of split the fight into, well, I hope our carries are able to just beat their tanks. Meanwhile, I'll be able to stall out their damage, so there's no damage coming in from behind all these tanks diving you. And theoretically, you should be able to then survive. The Mordekaiser would then have to go for some sort of stopwatch and Zhonya's play, but that's a lot of time bought in these team fights.
If Johnny Rockets can just take the spaghetti out of the spaghetti and meatballs, who wants to eat a bowl of just sauce and meatballs?
You know, that's what we call tomato soup with a side of meatballs.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's
a lot of blood.
Oh, Night Star, no. No blood. Only on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah,
that's where we're going to keep the blood in this match. We're going to toss it to a short break to save our sanity here, as we've run out of talking points. These teams, you can't analyze them. They're going to do what they're going to do. UCL teams will be UCL teams, and we'll see the UCL teams take to each other in game number 3 after this short break. Stick with us.
Silver Scrape, going to game 5. Going to game 5.
It's even worse than I thought it would be.
Oh my God.
Welcome back, gamers, to the game number 3 between AOE Reborn and Cosa Gaming here. It's gonna be a banger for sure. Who's gonna take home the trophy? Now, AOE did get a win in their series week 1, so a win here would firmly put them at the top of their group standings. And Cosa, once again, in their series last week, had a game 1 forfeit, but game 2 and 3 were split 1-1 very closely.
Audio.
Yes.
Olaf just remembered to purchase items. It was almost
Ooh.
it was
Nice,
almost a game over.
I thought I was like muted on the stream or something because you just softly went audio, and I'm like, what happened? What did I do? What did I do wrong?
Don't worry.
Fuzar nearly avoids catastrophe, but I mean, we could just say that that was planned from the beginning because he did walk out, place a ward, and then reset for his sweeper. So knowing that was going to happen,
But he almost walked back out of the base without buying. That was the thing.
Okay, yeah, I have no defense for that.
Oh.
Not off to a good start, Fuzar.
It's okay. At the very least, he still remembered to do it, you know? So, saved. So, they get to play the game.
This time. And for now. We'll see what happens. Both junglers start on the top side. But once again, it is Kiwi Pancake off to the healthier start to this race. He is already on his wolves, finishing them up now as Fuzar is just starting on his Raptors. And both of them trending towards this bot lane. Right now, push for the Kaisa Rel. Hecarim will be there first.
Yeah, Hecarim will be there available to gank. So the wave position actually a little bit rough here for this bot lane because they want to get it crashed and bounce back, and right now it's kind of just stalled out. So for the side of Indigo and Jake, you really just want to try and thin out the wave a little bit here and buy enough time for this next wave to come in, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to fully freeze it. But Hecarim is around.
They are thankfully going to crash it. And Kiwi smites the Krugs, actually, as he is just trying to get through this camp as quickly as possible so that he can get into this lane. Olaf as well is on the way. He did finish his camp at the same time, able to do blue and Gromp at once. Kiwi Pancake
he interrupts it.
Tunde out of his W, and it is going to be first blood donated over to Indigo.
Yeah, I believe the crash down just doesn't get any value there.
Beautifully executed.
And you might even say he crashed and burned on that one.
And that's just the simple pathing, you know, superior for the side of Kiwi Pancake. TLF, he's going to take a big chunk of damage, but, you know, we talked about Fuzar. He was behind the pace of the game with the Udyr in game number 1. I don't know quite the timings between Olaf and Hecarim down to the second, but you got to think if Fuzzar had been 10 seconds faster, even if he hadn't stopped for that scuttle, if he had walked bot instead of taking the scuttle, he would have been there for that play. And it's those very small decisions that can make a very big impact in these games.
Yeah, at the very least, the Olaf is out to a CS lead, which is not what we got to see last time around in game number 1 when he was on that more early game focus and skirmish focus jungler in the Udyr. So that's a benefit. Now it's just a matter of can he be able to cash in on that benefit, because top side is very much just shoved in for Johnny Rockets here as he's just laying down the pain train on this Malphite.
Yeah, this jungle CS gap is definitely being eclipsed by the top lane one that is accruing for Johnny Rockets. Sunday goes in.
Oh,
too much
dear.
DC. He eventually flashes forward just to, in frustration, try to find something on Jake. But that CC chain was brutal.
Yeah, that's definitely the definition of a tilt play there.
Ooh, Indigo.
Sometimes when you get locked down for such a long time, I'm looking at you, Morgana.
Kate Morgana.
You just get tilted. It's very easy to tilt when you're CC'd for that long. You're supposed to play League of Legends.
Might as well get up and stretch, go grab a drink, maybe a snack.
I'm still locked down? Oh, okay. But yeah, this bot lane not going well for them at all, and now without Flash as well, like it's a clear target for Kiwi Pancake to just continuously just wreak havoc.
Yeah. And it's a little bit worrying that we're starting to see the troubles already pile up in the laning phase. Kiwi Pancake, he shows up, has to run away. Fuzzar,
get him, Fuzzar!
That Zaya's doing a lot of damage. The flash to pull the feathers through all three, but it's not going to be enough. Everybody around him falls.
Wait, Galio?
Able to. Galio comes in just to take one back. Try to buy some time for the Zaya, but it's a triple kill for Kaisa. Everything going right for her, but still some kills answered back. It was not without its faults.
Yeah, not without cost there, as it will be, you know, a 2-for-3 trade. We are going to see Johnny Rockets harass him.
The lantern's glowing with purple fire during the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, truly an honorable arena to do battle in.
Bravo, Riot. You do some things right.
Yeah. Now just let us see Viego in play.
Right? Let Viego be working, please.
Please free him from his banned prison.
I mean, was Mordekaiser this bad when he was released? At least in competitive play? Because I know his ultimate was seriously buggy upon release.
Well, not as buggy as the previous iteration of Mordekaiser.
Oh boy, let's not even go there.
But I mean, they, at the very least, this time around, Riot has learned that they can't just ignore it. That they just have to go ahead and ban it early on before people figure out all 200 bajillion bugs to abuse.
I know Invisible Nunu is still floating somewhere around in some poor solo queue game.
But now it's back to seeing TLF getting battered.
Yeah, Johnny Rockets landing its full combo there. Oh, but he steps just a little bit too far forward.
Just a prank.
It's a unstoppable force to the face under the tower. Jake is going to get stunned up. Big damage from the Kaisa. The heal not enough to keep him alive. It'll be traded. Support for support. And now both junglers are here. Indigo wins the health trade on Life Without Us, but other than that, it's just a mirrored trade.
Yeah, it ends up being that mirror trade, and really the only difference is the fact that, well, Kaisa can just walk into the jungle now to try and help out the Olaf. As Olaf will be able to harassed here, but now Jake's back. He's going to be able to get here first because he just respawned.
Pops the Ragnarok, so he can't be CZ, but he can still take a whole ton of damage. Kiwi Pancake is going to grab the kill and his red buff.
Yeah, and you know what they say in Minnesota? You have a love-hate relationship with the Vikings.
Oh boy. I feel like that's probably true for pretty much every football team.
To a degree, unless if maybe you're Tampa Bay right now.
Actually, no, I take that back. We really love the Packers in Wisconsin.
Oh,
we don't hate them at all. DLF.
That's true.
He's not loving much right now.
That's Flash.
Oh, Johnny Rocket's not going to let him go this time.
Whew. That is kind of just the signal of what's about to continue forward in this top side, because it is that Bomby Cinder purchase actually coming out from TLF first, which I would say is a massive mistake. I would much rather see the Merc Shreds come through or just go straight into that MR portion with the Aegis if you're going for Sunfire Aegis, or at the very least get that magic resistance.
Or maybe even, you know, a little AP. He's going the Comet builds. Wouldn't hurt to throw a little bit of extra lading pressure in the mix. I mean, you can sit on something like, I don't know, some sort of
Dark
components. Yeah, you can
go
sit
Dark
on
Seal
something
here.
like Dark Seal to just give you a little extra oomph in laning phase. But like I said, the Mordekaiser is feeling really good after these buffs, especially into a lot of the melee matchups, into pretty much all of the tank matchups. It's a fantastic laning phase. I'm using the word matchup way too much. And he's already back to lane with the Rift Maker. 30 CS up, got the solo kill. He is going to be a huge threat in these team fights.
He feels great. And if they're able to just keep this top side isolated, he'll feel even better. And right now, with how the rest of the lanes are doing, it's just been all focused around this bot side.
What
Like
a
so.
beautiful pick on a Jake over the wall. Spotted him with the sweeper.
Yeah.
Sunbee has the confidence to jump that wall, not knowing what's on the other side, and gets them a kill.
Jake from State Farm didn't get insurance for himself, apparently. That's one for the books.
AoE's not a good neighbor.
Yeah. And now, mid lane, also not
Looking
going
to
to
get
have
revenge for Jake, though. It's 163 braces, yeah. Oh, he uses the flash there at the very end of it. I think right as the final tick of damage came through, I thought he was saving it because he was just dead. But does panic flash there.
Yeah, that's going to be extremely detrimental when it comes to trying contesting for this next dragon. And it does look like we're going to close out this series with a really fun Drake. We're either going to get Mountain or Infernal. Both of them should be exciting to fight for, especially.
I don't know about you. I don't think Mountain Soul is that exciting. Just gives you a shield. Makes you take less damage. That sounds like less
Sunbay
fun.
can run at him more.
Yeah, I guess so. You're not going to convince me, Night Star. It's Infernal or it's Ocean, or I'm not interested. Cloud Soul is actually pretty fun, in my opinion. I like to see people moving fast. I think Mountain Soul is the only one that makes the game less interesting to watch, because all it does is make people die less. And isn't that the whole reason Riot introduced the Elemental Drakes in the first place? Make people die more?
Isn't that the reason we have play-by-play casters?
Isn't that the reason that they nerfed Ardent Sensor, was so that people would die more? Isn't, at the end of the day, Riot Games just wants you to die more on Summoner's Rift.
Yes.
They don't really want you to climb.
Yeah. It's to, you know, promote more fireworks. As Johnny Rockets, like, here's the thing. Johnny Rockets would love, absolutely love to have more Mountain Dragons, because that means the sustain he gets just is extra value. And that means he gets to drop more maces. over and over again, heal over and over again, and you know, I don't even care about the rest of the squad at this point. Just get Mountain Soul so we get to see Johnny Rockets 1v5.
Right? I mean, we're not even talking about Life Without Us, who was 4-0-1. Sure is down in CS onto the Xayah. This actually does not have his mythic. Took a pit stop for the serrated Dirk so that he could get the immediate upgrade on his Q.
Yep.
But he is feeling really good. The fact that he has that upgraded for this fight, actually, I don't think if you're AoE, you want to contest this against this Kaisa. It is such an incredible amount of burst damage with 12 Acathian range.
They're contesting.
Look at this fragment. It's gone before he can get into the pit. Now, here comes the
TLF.
Melfit.
Oh, that's massive.
They're on top. Really good wombo combo.
Johnny Rockets!
Johnny Rockets is still alive. He's in his 1v1. So is Kaisa, but she's flashing away, and she does fall. Johnny Rockets pops out of the Death Realm saying, hey, guys, I won. Where you at? Oh, okay, you lost. How'd that happen?
Johnny Rockets is like, I got mine. I got mine. Don't worry, guys. I got mine. And elsewhere, it's just like, well, actually, you didn't. Because the karma's still alive, and that's one of the tricky parts here is if you don't manage to take something like that Xayah, yes, you will beat whoever you abduct into the Shadow Realm besides Xayah, but it doesn't change how the fight plays out for the rest of the 4v4. And you saw there, like, the 4v4 was not a good time for everyone besides Mr. Vor.
And going into that fight, I mean, it was the gold lead for the side of... Oh, hold on. Thought Johnny Rockets.
He doesn't have Shadow Realm.
He has nothing left here. Everything used in that last fight, and he is going to go down. Meanwhile, Indigo clearing the wave, throwing out his ult.
Wow.
Okay, he doesn't have the fullback to find Sunbay, but he does have some help on the way. Hacker and Regalia were roaming, but they're going to get distracted by the Scuttlecrab and pull off. Oh, okay. Scuttlecrab secured. Back to the play. Sunbay, why are you still here? Why were they engaging? They're going to go down. They were probably going to die anyway, but I guess they'll just make it happen a little faster by choosing to engage on their own. Tower's going to fall here. The Olaf was able to clear out the mid wave, so no damage going down into that one, but it's the full tier 1 dropping at the bottom lane.
They were a little hopeful there, but I think even in worst case scenario, you trade 1-for-1 in that isolated trade, because they were able to lay a whole lot of damage down into Jake. It's just that the Hecarim showed up, and the Hecarim was outside of their calculations apparently. And that means the support drops for free. And even then, you compare these AD carries. Like, yes, both of these AD carries are finding kills, but then you look at how Indigo is doing it, and just the fact that he also has a 30 CS lead. This Xayah is just that much better than the Kaisa pick right now, and scaling-wise will also do much better than the Kaisa later on.
And we also see the front line being very accelerated too. The Hecarim 5, 1, and 6 already has Turbo Chem Tank plus the Dead Man's Plate. You're gonna need Johnny Rockets to chew through that front line. If he takes somebody else into the fight, honestly, Kiwi Pancake can just single-handedly run over the back line here. So you honestly have to be careful. If you are the Mordekaiser, you can take the Galio, Karma, Mordekaiser into the fight. You can even take the Xayah to try to keep her out of the fight. But this Hecarim is so strong that he is a serious threat to your own damage dealers.
And I mean, Johnny Rockets at this point is like, man, can I just have more ults? I need to literally kidnap everyone. My team is just
days when I was just facing the Malphite.
Yeah, like, can we just wind time backwards? I kind of just want to hang out on side lane again. And then they're like, well, you're not Yorick, so you can't just push all the way into their base. So try harder.
He's looking for it. He does send
trying harder.
TLF to the Shadow Realm. Now they've got all their members on the way. Currently, QA Pancake is trying to back up TLF.
Oh,
But even if he
flashed.
had arrived, it would have been a 4v2, and the Malphite did burn Flash at the very tail end of that.
Oh, that is really tragic, and the fact that he loses Flash and now
It's a
Kiwi
numbers
Pancake.
advantage for
This is a big shutdown
the
if they
side
get
of
it.
AoE.
Teleport coming in.
Kiwi Pancake losing about half his health. Here comes the Galio. And there's the big shutdown. Fear lands onto the Kaisa, right into the Galio ultimate. And it's a double kill for Toasty Alex.
Well, Toasty Alex just gets the slam dunk there, gets himself a double, and man, at this point, they're just really starting to run away with it. They're getting advantages. Now they're able to get that first Mountain Dragon. That means they get a little extra durability, which helps so much against this Kaisa pick and the Olaf. Yeah,
And after that fight, as we want to take a look at the spoils of war spent, we'll do another check-in on the items. Toasty Alex has finished his Zanyas. Unfortunately, TLF has not been able to make it to his second item, but he at least has finished up his tier 2 boots and now has the Turbo Chem take. So
yeah.
will be useful. Like, this is the advantage of Malphite. It doesn't matter that he is down 70 CS. Now that he's finished an item and he has level 6, he's a useful champion and he's going to be effective in these fights. Xayah also finishing that Essence Reaver, really big purchase.
Yeah, massive purchase. This Xayah is just so strong here. And on the flip side, you're looking at some of these items. We actually have the Gore Drinker coming out from this Olaf pick, which...
Here comes the flank from the Hacker Room. Wow. They land everything onto the perfect members. Indigo unstoppable. That was textbook.
Yeah, and it really just comes down to the fact that they realize, hey, both of their solo laners chilling out in a solo lane. How about we just engage 5v3? And if you look at the Olaf, the Rel, and the Kaisa, where's the disengage? The disengage is on that Syndra. So they need Syndra around, or they just cannot walk even remotely close to their opponents.
Yeah, this is a composition that doesn't want to be getting engaged on in the first place. We pointed out Fuzzar wanted to be on the offensive, going forward with Sunbay, using that Rel combination with the Kaisa and with the Olaf while Johnny Rockets found a 1v1. But the fact that from the back foot already tells you that something's gone terribly, terribly wrong. And playing Olaf from behind, like, what do? You just farm more. You pretty much just become a little bit of extra damage. You try to go towards the most valuable target and do whatever you can before you inevitably go down in hopes that your carries can finish it off. But at this point, Fuzzar does feel like just a very buffed up minion right now. Kind of a walking smite.
He is a bit of a walking smite because, like, even when you talk about, like, all right, well, he has Gore Drinker, maybe he's able to get onto a backline champion and delete him, but
wow,
yeah,
again,
Syndra's not around.
Combo 163 braces only just joins the fight. Here comes the teleport. Can it cancel it? No. Johnny Rockets does finish that one. 1 HP on the turret. Let's check how much it actually has. All right, chat's in the way. 8 HP on that mid lane tier 2.
There we go.
It's the engage, and it's at least another kill onto the key target for the side of Cosa.
Yeah, and again, like, Cosa, they just get to dictate whenever these fights happen. The side of AOE Reborn at this point in the game, they don't get a say in the game anymore. Yes, Sunbei, he can try and look for engages and skirmishes and whatnot, and yeah, that's great, but when it comes to these team fights, they have no response to Malphite, Hecarim, and you throw on down a karma speed up on top of that, like you can't even run away fast enough.
There is not enough speed in League of Legends. At least not for these characters.
Yeah.
They don't got the Hecarim, they don't got the Rammus. And,
No Udyr either.
This is not the Tristana Ezreal that was plaguing them in previous games where they just could not find the engage. You're playing Syndra and you're playing Kaisa. I mean, at least Kaisa has some self-peel, but it's situational. It's not enough to deal with the amount of tools coming at you. Now, 24 seconds away from this next dragon, AOE have picked up a single Drake for themselves. So if they don't want to fight for this one, it's not going to cost them the soul.
Yeah, they'll most likely just concede this one. And that also just continues to make this Malphite more and more valuable. Yes, he's just super far behind in the CS department, right? And he definitely doesn't win the 1v1 against this Mordekaiser, but who cares? All you have to do is get what you can in this lane, group up with your team as soon as you can, and then just ult the other squad. And that's job done. And it's more than just job done, because most likely you win the game off of these engages.
That is a A+. Exceeded expectations. We are going to see a soft reset coming in here from AOE as they send Sunbait back to base. Picks up that Kindle Gem for a little bit of extra CDR. And now Baron is the objective on the table right now. Everyone is out on the map. River Vision, at least, was until very recently in control of Cosa. They do still have that one Farsight trinket in the pit, and they have control over the river too. They're sitting 2,000 gold ahead. They have the 3 Drakes. There's not even going to be a contest, Nightstar.
They have a slow suspicion, and now they definitely know. But here, can they even take the fight? That's the question. They're forced into the pit.
Just looking for the turn. TLF gets pulled into the death realm, and here comes AOE. They're looking for the fight. Galio ultimate gonna go over the top. Malphite finds 3, and there goes the Syndra. There goes the Rel.
But can they deal with Johnny Rockets?
Kaisa is still alive. The damage is still there. You can say the same for Indigo. This player in this series has been the rock for the side of Cosa. If you haven't killed Indigo, you haven't won the team fight yet. And it's just going to end up being an even 2-for-2 at the end of it all. Cosa are going to try to chase some more down, but they don't really have any engage. Yeah, there's no dragon. There's nothing to force the fight. There's no engage. Everyone's just going to walk away. We walked to Baron to trade 2-for-2 kills, and then that's it, Nightstar.
we took a nice walk all the way down to Dragon just to, I don't know, say goodbye. It's like when you're exiting a party, but then, you know, you're kind of walking out to the car and you just keep on talking. And even when you're hanging out at the car, you're still talking. That's kind of how that happened. Nothing really happens.
I think we're showing a little bit of Midwest experience here, Nightstar. I feel like that's not as normal of a.
It's a Midwest thing for sure.
A lot of people. But yeah, in the Midwest, you can have a conversation with somebody, and then that conversation goes on for another. No, unironic 2.5 hours. I have seen someone just like standing at the door saying, okay, goodbye, have a good day, yeah, make sure you drive safe. Oh, it's gonna rain tomorrow night, so make sure you keep out for that. Oh, and next week is Timmy's little birthday party. Gonna grab a gift? Oh, ice cream cake? Oh, he doesn't like vanilla. Make sure you get the chocolate one, okay? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have goodie bags too. Do your kids get gun? Do they need sugar free? Like, it's a whole thing, guys. Trust me. It's terrible.
It's terrible sometimes if you're trying to get out of that. But sometimes you just want to hang out, and especially in times like these, like you miss the social interaction. So I
gotta
can't
say-
wait to have one of those 2.5 conversations.
Thank you, Nightstar, for giving me that little nostalgia hint of home.
Yeah.
Got to reenact my old
There we go.
glory days. Talking outside a car door for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Back to the present, though. We've
Yep.
gone far enough
We
down
took
the
a
rabbit hole.
2-minute detour, but that's because there was
There's been
nothing
no
going
fighting.
on. Yeah.
Exactly. No objectives to fight over.
We're waiting.
I guess the Baron still has been on the table, but now all ultimates back on the table. We still see some missing flashes.
Here we go.
Those notices on Syndra.
Just kidding.
Okay, they were looking but didn't quite find it. No flash on Syndra, no flash on Xayah. There is a flash on Kaisa. So Life Without Us, the one carry in these fights that can kind of position a little bit more recklessly. The other two, though, keep your eyes on.
Yeah, now coming into this next fight here, 20 seconds until it pops. We're looking TLF. He has
Here
position.
comes the flank. Heckerman to the back line. There's the Malphite. They picked out the Syndra. No flash. Nowhere to go. There's 2 kills for Sunbay. Kaisa's not even in this fight.
Yep, that was the main issue there. And I mean, I outlined post-draft. This is a comp that 163 Braces will never get to play against because he's the only one without mobility. So it just makes for very easy targets to start out these fights. And I was going to bring up the point where, all right, well, if the side of Cosa Gaming, they start out this dragon and they try and burst it down, there's the possibility Johnny Rockets goes in, abducts Pancakes, and then they secure the steal. But that doesn't pay off here. Now, here's the fight.
Turn for the fight once again. Ragnarok burnt, but I mean, what's it gonna do if all you're doing is running away? Johnny Rockets in the middle
There's
of
no
all
damage.
5, but he doesn't have enough. The Riftmaker, the Demonic Embrace, not enough. Indigo is legendary. The health bars may be low, but the spirits are high. It's the clean ace, a triple for Toasty Alex, a double for Indigo. Between them, a penta. The carries are just too clutch for the side of Cosa. They will march into the base, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, they can end it here and now. Revenge for their week 1 series. They're able to end this week with a 2-1 in their favor.
Yeah, and this 2-1. The games they took were absolutely dominating. And the game that they did lose, they were scrapping back very, very... it was a very close game number 2. So it's not like they just keeled over and gifted that game over to AOE Reborn. Yeah. So I love this performance coming out from Cosa, and I hope that they're able to carry this performance and make their way into playoffs, because I would love to see more of this squad.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing is that this is a different style that we saw out of Cosa 2. This wasn't the Camille coming through. Toasty Alex was on Galio instead of the Tristana. And it's an Aftershock Galio too. Like, sure, it was full AP, but this is much less agency than something like a Tristana, and he was still able to put up incredible numbers. So that is a really impressive performance for me. TLF still looked a bit shaky in the laning phase when he's not on something like the Camille. I think his weak side needs a little bit of work, but he was able to find a lot of use throughout the game on the Malphite. Obviously, it's Malphite, but yeah, liked the game. Liked that it was not only a win, but a different style to win.
Yeah, and I was actually really impressed by how TLF played this game, because he was put in a really terrible position in the fact that they blind picked the Malphite for him, and then they got absolutely dumpstered by the counter pick, right? The Mordekaiser pick-wise just runs away with that lane. So, as expected, the leads were gained in that lane, but he was able to find roam timings to get out of the lane to provide value for the rest of his team. He found teleports, like a very impressive showing after what was a very not impressive showing in game number 2.
I mean, he ended up out damaging everybody on the side of AoE except for that Mordekaiser. The Zio was actually the only one who out damaged the Mordekaiser in that game. But yeah, the number of 3-4 man ultimates that were actually setting up fights. So, there was a couple fights where Kiwi Pancake was the one that got the engage and kind of corralled everybody at that point. Like, it's kind of brain dead to hit that ultimate, but there was still some engages where TLF was on intelligent flanks. He was the one starting off the engages. Everybody was layering in on top of him. And that's where you really, like to see a player still having value, even when they've been behind, still being the catalyst for these plays. So I am very happy with what we saw out of them today. And for the side of AoE, they still had one really good game. Game number 2, I think that's your recipe for success. If you can look at that and try to replicate it, look at games 1 and 3, try to look at where you went on. I'm excited to see both these teams, and I hope they do make it to playoffs. This may possibly be one of the last times we get to see either one of these teams, just because so many teams in the UCL, so few weeks, we can only get to so many on stream. But I wish both these two teams the best, and I hope that we get to see more of them.
Yeah, and at the very least, if they make finals, we'll get to cast them again. So to the teams here, just make finals.
True, just make finals, Forehead. But with that sage piece of advice, we're going to wrap up tonight's broadcast. We've got so much League of Legends going on here at Upsurge, so make sure you guys follow this stream. Go follow Upsurge Esports, Upsurge GG, Upsurge LOL. There's Rainbow Six Siege. We do so much, so you're going to want to stay tuned in. We've also got Discords if you want to get connected with some like-minded League of Legends fans. But as far as me and Nightstar, we'll be back here next week, same place, same time, to take on some more UCL action. We'll see you then.